And then I also picked this, there's a scene where she is in a nightgown and Paul is trying to come into the kitchen and all the women are like, no, she's in her nightgown. And I feel like it's not that big a deal to see one in her nightgown, so I figured it has to be something a little scandalous to like not want to let this guy see her in it. Plus, she does have sex appeal. She would wear some sexy nightgowns, you know, I totally imagine it. So, but this nightgown in particular, it fits in really well with the period. It's appropriate. It's appropriate to wear to bed, inappropriate to be seen in by regular people. But yeah, it's still like classy. So yeah, because Marianne isn't trashy. Like, she has issues, but she still has class. So the next character is Hannah. So Hannah is in her early 30s. She's a lesbian. She works as a handyman. She's a feminist. She's really brash, attracted to Agnes, and she's very protective. These are all things I touched on in the plot. So this is what I would pick for Hannah to wear. I would have her wear this, I love the ripped jeans for her, and like, you know, a loose fitting flannel with work boots, because that's just totally something I see like a cool like handyman wearing. Still, like, she's just really like, it's comfortable, something that she can move in, something that she can work in. And then also she's described as having short hair. And I really like this haircut that I put on here because it's kind of shaggy. And I like to think that since, you know, Hannah's, you know, she's goes against the grain, like she's a feminist, she's edgy, that she like wouldn't have like really clean cut hair. It'd be kind of like messy and a little overgrown, and I kind of like that as opposed to like a clean, like fresh cut. And the next character is Paul. I actually didn't talk about him a lot in the plot. So he is in his mid-30s. He's a songwriter. I describe him as a weak, pathetic man. His wife left him for another guy, and like he sends that guy money to make sure that she's taken care of. Like, he's super weak, and he tells Marianne he's gonna take care of her, even though she doesn't truly like love him, but whatever. So Paul is not very assured of himself at all. He has no confidence. He's really awkward. He's casual. He's a free spirit, and he's also, like I said, like, he's a beta. He's not an alpha man. He's a beta. So I picked this polo and these pants because they are appropriate, you know, for the time period. But also, these aren't the clothes of a man who is assured of himself. Like, you know, these aren't strong pieces. They're very casual, very, like, floaty. Yeah. So for the set design of the show, I really am inspired by this idea of Grandma's Kitchen. The entire show takes place in the kitchen of the bed and breakfast. And since the entire show takes place in one location, that location needs to be bursting with life. It needs to be, it needs to feel lived in. Like, people truly and honestly live there. So with that said, I really love the idea of the Grandma's Kitchen, where the walls, it's covered in utensils, and there's, you know, little handkerchiefs and washcloths everywhere, and cute little, like, say, you know, when you go somewhere and there's like they have those cute little things on the wall that say like, home is where the heart is. Would be full of them. You know, I want the room to feel full and warm and cozy, like you would feel in your grandma's kitchen. Super lived in. And because, like I said, because this is the only location of the show, detail needs to be insane in the set design. Like, there needs to be so many, especially because Agnes is cooking in like all of these scenes. It needs to feel like someone actually cooks here. It needs to feel like someone actually exists in this room. Yes. So why is this play important to do now? So this is kind of, because it says in the thing to talk about themes, but I want to talk about like the themes of this show that make it relevant to today, and why it should be, if I were pitching this, why I would produce it today. First of all, I would want to produce this show because most of the cast is made up with women. And not only that, but the women are all really strong individuals. Every single one of them is completely different ages, completely different lifestyles, but every single one of them they're very strong, complex characters in their own right. And quite honestly, we don't see a lot of that from female characters. So that's definitely a reason why I think this play is important. The next one is that, it features a gay character and an older woman struggling with her sexuality, which is just new and we need to give a voice to. But also, I really like that this show asks the question, what makes a family? Agnes isn't Penny's real mother, and that's something that comes up quite a bit throughout the show. But her love for her is real. Like, the family that they have is real. And then at the end of the show, they allow Hannah into their family, and Hannah is so protective over Agnes and so protective over Penny, and it's like, even though all of them are women and they're all different ages and none of them are related, they're a family because they made themselves a family. And I think that that's really important to show, is that family doesn't mean, relatives. I also really like that it begs the question, how do we define love? Marianne is struggling so much with, how she loves her husband, but she also hates him and he hurts her and she doesn't know what to do with that. And how many women before her have gotten killed because they still loved their husbands even after they hurt them. There's also Penny, who's struggling with, what does love really mean? She thinks she loves this boy. She wants to give up anything for him, but, Marianne has this great line where she says, they don't really love you. They just love their reflection in your eyes. It's really profound, and I love that. And I definitely think plays that push that envelope of what does love truly mean is just fantastic. It also deals with the reality of domestic violence and, how that can affect an individual, and how, like I said earlier, how you can still want that person, both in a romantic and in a sexual way, even after they've, raped you. And then also, it deals with the temptation of love, which I, talked on earlier with Penny and that boy. So, do I have anything after this? Nope. Okay, yeah. So, overall, that's my presentation. I hope you liked it. Thank you.